So what I want to talk are a couple of projects that I'm involved in that I think are important when we talk about food, especially from a systemic perspective. And what I'm trying to do is to look at the complexity of the food chain. As a lawyer, I tend to stress the legal aspect a lot, but I think that also the importance of complexity and the importance of non-visible connections when we talk about food is essential. So the first project that I'm involved in is the study of land and the role of land in global production. And to just give you an example, I brought an apple. Because when we buy an apple at the supermarket, we may ask ourselves where it comes from, and then we read that it comes from the United Kingdom, and then we are happy with the geographical definition of United Kingdom. But we seldom ask ourselves where it comes from concretely. And behind every food that we consume, there is land. And there is land where the food is produced, there is land where the food is transformed, there is land where the food is distributed from supermarket, because the supermarket is occupied land. So what I'm trying to look at is the importance that land has in food production. And so I go all the way back in the food chain, at the origin of the food chain, and at the land where the food is produced. And where I see more and more that land is becoming a resource rather than an opportunity for people. It's becoming an economic resource. It's becoming a crucial element of the value chain that everyone wants to have their hands on. So what I'm looking at is how the transformation in the food chains are impacting access to land, and especially the opportunity for people and small-scale farmers to have access to land. If more people want to produce food, and if food becomes a commodity that everyone wants to have access to, only those with a lot of resources can actually buy it, rent it, or transform it. And that is also closely linked to the methodology and the way in which we produce food. If it's very expensive to have access to food, only big players can. If it's very expensive to have access to land, only big players can have access to land. That means that a lot of capital is needed. And the best way in order to get the money back after an investment has been made is to have large-scale intensive production of food, which means a lot of fertilizer, which means a lot of pesticides, which means big tractors, and normally means that all the food looks the same and tastes the same and there is no diversity. So even if land is always non-visible, like the transformation that are happening with land at the beginning of the food chain have an impact on what we are actually consuming, the availability of food, the quality of food, the diversity of food, and etc. And the other project that I'm working on is more or less on the other extreme of the food chain. If land is very territorial and identified, the other one is the role that finance and financial investors have in defining the food chain. So we never really talk about them. We always talk about farmers, corporations, states as the main actors in the food chain. But especially after 2008, there are more and more financial actors, pension funds, private equity funds, investment funds, insurances, who are interested in investing in the food chain and are interested in investing in food because they realize that if the number of people in the world is increasing, if more and more people want to have access to meat, if more and more people are becoming scared of certain products and they want to have more sustainable goods, markets is changing, and so there's an opportunity for money. So if we go again to the food chain and we analyze it from farm to fork, as they say, we see that there are financial investments made by private equity firms in land. So a lot of private equity firms and pension funds are buying land. There's a lot of interest in the retail sector. More and more supermarkets are actually bought by big companies and financial companies and private equity firms. But there's a lot also of interest in what is becoming the new revolution, which is the delivery system. So more and more financial actors are investing in companies that are delivering food. And that's not only a matter of, okay, there's a lot of money, so they're going to become bigger, but that's a matter also of changing what we consume, how we consume, and how we see food. Again, if they're interested in land, that's because they want to make money out of land, and they're not really interested in distributing money to farmers. If they want to buy a supermarket, it's because they want supermarkets to be the place where we buy food, and so not the small grocery store at the other corner. If they're interested in delivery, it's because they want us to stay home and order through an application and buy whatever we find on the application, and not to cook ourselves or go out to the restaurant or inviting friends over for something that we cooked. So I think that if we look at the complexity of the food system and who is actually intervening, it's not only a matter of what is happening, but it's also a matter of why it's happening and how it changes the way in which produce, consume, and transform food, but also its environmental implication. So I think that the understanding the complexity of the food chain is crucial, and so system thinking and connecting dots and looking beyond the apple. So next time that you see an apple, instead of thinking it's just an apple, think about where it comes from, who's behind it. And you'll see that the situation is much more complex than we expect. And the more we are aware of the complexity, the easier, maybe it's not the right word, but the more likely is that we try to implement solutions that are effective and systemic rather than just tackling the end of the chain.